I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and let's say you walk into that Verizon store, you don't want to spend $200 or $300 for a 4G LTE device, and you think, well, they don't have anything for me. Think again, my friends. Here's the LG Lucid. This thing is available as of yesterday on Verizon Wireless for $79.99 after a $50 mail-in rebate. Now, this thing is packing a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon processor, a 4-inch display, a 5-megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording, and it's available in a sub-$100 price package, which is pretty cool given the fact that it has 4G LTE connectivity. Now, is this a device for you? Maybe you should go with the Pantech Breakout, or maybe you should spend those extra $100 and get the HTC Resound or the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. We'll find out in the full review, but first, special thanks to our friends at Best Buy Mobile for hooking us up with phones like this for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game, which we give to you on the site. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working. They'll help you set up your email, your web, your contacts, your camera settings, all the stuff you need on this device to make it great out the door. Best Buy Mobile will help you set it up. Let's take a look at this now. LG Lucid, is this the must-have under $100 4G LTE device? We'll find out starting right now. You walk into the Verizon store, right, and you see the Galaxy Nexus, you see the HTC Resound, but you're seeing price tags of like $199 and $299, and you're like, look, I don't really need the highest-end phone. I just want something with 4G LTE connectivity that works relatively well. Well, this device is probably going to appeal to you. This is the LG Lucid. It's available now, actually as of today, on Verizon Wireless for $79.99 after a $50 mail-in rebate. That's with a 2-year agreement, but $80. $80 gets you a dual-core processor. And you know, it's funny because I think they're kind of mimicking AT&T, mimicking T-Mobile, some of these other carriers that are picking up devices between $99 and $149.99 that are pretty decently spec devices with like dual-core processors and cameras with 1080p HD video recording and more. So you're getting stuff like that over here in the LG Lucid. To give you a quick rundown, 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor. Let me focus out on this a little bit so you can get more of an in-depth look at the phone. 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon processor. You've got a 5-megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording. So now, in terms of the megapixel front, not an 8-megapixel camera, but it does have 1080p HD video recording. It's got a 4-inch IPS display up here on the top, 262,144 colors, 480 by 800 pixels. Then you have a front-facing camera, and it's packing Android 2.3 with LG's custom user interface. Now, we've seen this interface before. It comes on the Revolution on the LG Spectrum, and you know I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it's kind of a quickly, kind of hastily put together user interface, but stay tuned because some of these new LG devices, like the LG Optimus 4X HD, which we saw at Mobile World Congress with Ice Cream Sandwich, brings in a new interface which seems to be much better. In my limited time with it, it seemed to be much more fluid, much more integrated with Ice Cream Sandwich as opposed to this, which I feel kind of works against gingerbread in a lot of ways. So this thing has a 1,700 milliamp hour battery, a little bit lower than what we've seen in some of the other 4G devices, but hopefully with that 4-inch display, it won't eat up battery too much. You can see this little nifty battery widget I have. This is Battery Life by Curvefish. It's available in the Google Play Store. And it's showing 60% battery life right now. So we'll take a look at that at the end in part 2 and see where it's at when we're done with the review. Keep in mind, though, this is on full brightness and more. So all in all, it's a good-looking device for $80. It's a pretty nicely styled device. It looks good. It's got a power button over here, chrome accents. It has a power button. Congratulations, you get a power button on your phone. Volume rocker over here, micro USB charging port. You've got your 3.5mm headphone jack up top. And it's got kind of this kind of sleek look at the back here where it kind of slips over and you've got the same chrome thing on the side and your camera on the back and then 4G LTE logo and of course your speaker on the back. 4-inch display is going to be a nice sweet spot for a lot of people. I'm really pleased with the way it fits in the hand, and again it has a nice design to it. So for $80 you really can't go wrong here. And we'll talk a little bit more about the speeds and some of the results later in part 1 and in part 2, but show you LG's user interface. First of all, you get 7 home screens in this device, and much like other user interfaces, you can pinch and take those out and see the 7 home screens all at once. Now, one thing I talked about this in the unboxing, one widget I just have to show you that I love, and I don't know why they haven't done this sooner, the dialer widget. This is something LG has done a great job with. The dialer widget allows you to dial directly from the home screen, so theoretically you could get rid of the phone icon if you wanted to and just dial from here. So you can hit 611, hit send, automatically opens up the phone application and allows you to dial. So that's a pretty nifty feature there. And then you can go down here and see the 4 buttons. You've got menu, home, back, and search. But dialer there, and then let's see some of the other widgets. LG has kind of an interesting look and feel when it comes to adding widgets or doing wallpaper changes, things like that. So you've got analog clock, app manager, battery life, which is what I downloaded. You've got some others, Bluetooth controller, calendar, digital clock. You're going to notice some Android stuff in here, and you're going to notice some LG custom widgets as well. Friends Plus, obviously an LG thing. Google Search, Google Plus, those are obviously Google things. Messaging, this is a pretty nifty widget I'll show you right here, and you can select the style. So they've done a pretty good job, much like HTC with Sense 3 and 3.5. They have a bunch of different styles. So you have like a small messaging widget, a medium messaging widget, actually in this case a small and a large messaging widget. So we'll go ahead and click on that one just to show you what it looks like, and we'll come in here and we'll see this. Now you'll notice that it's kind of in a graph format right now. That's because I'm still in editing mode, so I can scroll back and forth through all these home screens and add and remove as I see fit. I can add widgets, shortcuts, folders, or wallpapers just like I can on typical Android devices, but the layout is a little bit different here. So we'll see wallpapers, and we'll go in and we'll take a look. Actually, we'll do this little pencil one. That looks pretty unique. So you can change the wallpaper, and then when you're done, you can either hit back or just hit home, and it'll take you right back, and you'll see that the wallpaper is changed. There's the dialer widget, and there's the messaging widget. Now the downside is you can't customize the widgets like Motorola's user interface or TouchWiz 4 with a lot of the widgets, so you're kind of stuck with the size. So if you're in an area like this where you've got a little bit of space down here at the bottom, perhaps room for one widget, one long widget, you may not be able to do it with LG's custom user interface. But hey, that is what it is, right? Out of the box, you get some communication, Verizon Wireless stuff, and you'll see that it's all organized in folders, which can be opened and closed just by clicking on the folders themselves. I did not mean to click on Backup Assistant. Let's go back and hit Media, close those out so you can see what it looks like with everything closed. You can manage apps and manage categories. You can add new categories. You can move these around. So if you use, let's say, News and Search, you may want to move News and Search up to the top, and then we'll go ahead and go back. So News and Search is right there so you can easily access it. But Verizon Wireless stuff out of the box, you get Amazon Kindle apps, Backup Assistant, Let's Golf 3, Mobile Hotspot, My Verizon Mobile, Plants vs. Zombies, VCast Tone, VZ Navigator as well. So you get some Verizon bloatware pre-installed on this device. And I'm assuming the games can be uninstalled. Let's take a look. Looks like they may not be able to. Let's see. Yeah, I guess the games can't be uninstalled, but usually they'll allow you to uninstall the games. But unfortunately, with a lot of the Verizon stuff, you can't uninstall it. So you don't want VZ Navigator, you want to use Google Maps instead, you're unfortunately out of luck. And let's see if Google Maps actually comes pre-installed on this device, because we had that issue in the past where it didn't. So it looks like Maps is not enabled. No, actually, I saw it earlier, so I know it's out here out of the box. Let's see. Maps. Actually, I kid you not, I actually did a software update right before this video. Oh, there it is. Never mind. Scratch that. Maps is here. Out of the box. You have Google Maps. Previously they were actually removing Google Maps on some of the older Verizon devices and making you reinstall it by going to the Android market, what was then called the Android market, but it looks like it's pre-installed on the Lucid now. So messaging interface here, you're going to notice you get two keyboards, the LG user interface keyboard and then the swipe one as well. So LG's keyboard looks and feels like another device in the market. You actually, as soon as I start typing, you're going to recognize the sound. Quick Brown Fox is happy. Not my favorite keyboard in terms of autocorrect and in terms of overall usability, but it's available there. You've got swipe, and of course you can download some other stuff from the Android market, Google Play, the Play Store. One of my favorites is Ice Cream Sandwich Keyboard. It's free. There is a paid version as well, but it kind of mimics Android 4.0's stock keyboard, which is particularly nice. Let's take a look at browser as well. 4G LTE connectivity here, so you're going to get some nice speeds for 80 bucks. We'll come into phonedog.com, the best phone news and phone reviews, and we'll see it load up. You can see LTE is moving relatively quickly right now, very, very fast. And let's roll through and let it open up this app, or open up this website. So you can see pinch to zoom, not loaded fully yet, but pinch to zoom still relatively responsive. We'll wait for it to complete loading before we make any judgments. But you can see menu here, and you can see the windows that are open, and I can easily access a second one. So I'm a big fan of having that page preview like that. I think it's pretty beneficial. I didn't mean to open up a second window of PhoneDog, but you get the idea. And you can scroll back and forth between those two and easily see. Now, I've made this case before in a lot of LG videos, so if you've watched my videos on the Revolution, the Spectrum, I'll tell you this, I'm not a huge fan of LG's user interface. I do think it's a little bit bloaty and it doesn't work well with gingerbread, but I've also said that I think that for the high-end devices, this is not a high-end device. This is, unfortunately, it's crazy to say a dual-core device is a mid-range phone, but in 2012, it kind of is. It's a mid-range device, high mid-range to low high-end device. That said, I'm okay with LG's user interface, and I think for the $80 price point, this is a pretty decent all-around device. The interface does an okay job, but that said, when you look at like the $299 or $199 things like the Spectrum and the Revolution, and you compare those against some of the other devices on the market on Verizon, like the Galaxy Nexus or the Resound, I think you get a better user interface with those, or a better overall experience with those. So if you're paying the same money, it's one thing, but hey, 80 bucks, you can deal with the LG user interface in its current form. Pinch to zoom, relatively responsive, little to no lag, and you can see transition effects are nice and fast as well. So that dual-core processor is really doing a good job and working well. Now LG has made a point to say that this will be upgraded to ice cream, or is upgradable to ice cream sandwich. So hopefully we'll see this before the end of the year. Pick up ice cream sandwich. So visual voicemail pre-installed as well. $299.99. $299.99. Wow, $299 per month. Clearly, I have not had enough coffee this morning. $299 per month for the visual voicemail feature. And just to show you what the phone application looks like when you actually go into it, you can see the island keys here with some shortcuts, call log, contacts, and groups. And then down here you got your call button, your voice activation, your visual voicemail, and then I can easily text message. So frequently called is 611, and then I can message that, and it brings me right into the messaging interface so I can access that and send messages to my friends.